This is the Chenese Lewis Show, the #1 podcast for plus-size women. With your host, the queen of curvy conversation, Chenese Lewis.
Hello, and welcome to the Chenese Lewis Show. I'm your host, Chenese Lewis, and today is Monday, March 28th, 2016. Stay connected with me in between shows on Instagram at Chenese Lewis, on Facebook at Chenese Lewis Show, and on Twitter at Chenese Show. Today we have a very special guest, Jose Pagan. Jose Pagan is a fine art and fashion photographer based in New York City. His breakout art project, the Black Light Photo Experiment, an art project that combined nude art with the use of UV bulbs, put him on everyone's radar. Many in the fashion industry noticed Jose's artistic eye. Soon after his initial exposure with his art projects, Jose has been hired by businesses and organizations to translate their visions. He is the former East Coast lead photographer for Design Original Magazine and Music Insider Magazine, which he shot several covers and high-end editorials for. Jose has been published in Elle Brazil, Heart and Soul Magazine, Plus Model Magazine, Curvysta Magazine, and countless others. He recently sponsored the first official New York Fashion Week private plus designer show for Ply Apparel, and Jose was tapped as Underwraps Agency leads photographer, an organization billed as America's first modest and Muslim modeling agency. Let's welcome Jose to the show. Hi, Jose.
Shanae.
How are you?
I'm good.
Well,
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you on the show. I know you were busy shooting today, so thank you for taking out the time to do this interview.
Oh, thanks. No, today was actually my off day. Today was my digital day. I was doing editing, getting stuff out to clients and things of that nature. Yeah.
Okay. So prior to getting into art and photography, what did you do?
Well, I actually had a job with the city, for 21 years. I actually retired last September from the city, so now I'm actually, people thought I was full-time before. I wasn't. Mm-hmm. I was, part-time photography, part-time, pro, but now I'm full-time pro, and I'm going as far as it could take me right now.
Oh, so when you had your full-time job with the city, you were still doing this in addition to working the full-time job?
Yeah. People used to wonder, like, how the hell do you do it?
Right.
I always found a way. I mean, I don't know how I did it. I know, I sacrificed a lot with my family, certain events I couldn't go to, just to make sure that I, put bread on the table, but at the same time kind of, built the wings for my business in the future.
Right. So when you were younger, was photography and art was something you were interested in at a young age?
When I was young, before I actually, went to college, I was very, very, like, hands-on creative. I would build things and make things from scratch. I was just always like that. And it just came from me. Like, I never, went to, like, a proper school for it. It was just something that was always in me. It was until, I would say around 10 years ago that I decided to tap back into my creative self. And, that's when Black Light Photo Experiment started. I decided to really do something about it.
So I know one of your things that you tapped into first was short film. So were you doing short films before the Black Light project?
Yeah. That's I said, let me do some films just to have some fun. And I did, it was 3 of them, but 2 of them were actually kind of, really planned out, and one of them was called Madness, and the other one was a comedy called El Vinagre, which is the vinegar in Spanish. It was actually a Spanish comedy short. And, I had fun doing those, but I wanted more control of the artistic vision and message. So I figured photography was well suited for me as far as controlling the vision and making sure that it goes from my mind to the camera to the print the way I envisioned it.
Mhm. Now, in your bio, it says you are a fine art photographer. Tell me specifically, what does that mean, fine art photographer?
Well, as photographers, there's different classes. Like, I also do fashion. I do portraiture. I do sometimes landscape. I like to do more panoramic landscapes. So there's different kind of photographers, but with art, it's more or less, something that you would put on your wall, that you would want a huge print of and you would want on your wall. I mean, even though some people, would put a fashion photograph on their wall, and there's nothing wrong with that because some people see fashion as art, which it is. But I'm more in tune to now my spirituality. I love the human form, so a lot of my art is actually nude artwork. So when people look at it, they're not even really looking at the nude. They're looking at how the colors and the form and the whole scene come together to speak a language to the viewer.
So all of your art projects have some element of photography to them. So when you talk about art projects, you aren't talking about like painting on canvas or doing sculpture. Everything is with photography.
Well, I actually
Correct?
I did an actual branch off. When I did the black light, I loved the way the UVs, reacted with the neon paints and pigments and different substances that actually did several abstract paintings in black light. And then what I did with it was after I painted it on the canvas and canvas boards, I actually took a photograph of it, a very controlled photograph with the UV light, and actually created a reproduction of what I painted. So I actually did paint.
So you have all different elements of art in your work.
Yeah, I'm always looking to do something that I feel that comes from my soul and what I'm pulling from the universe. So, I've been thinking just soon, hopefully start working with sculpting or, making works from found objects, and just making things. Because I just love making things. I guess that's my nature, to create.
Okay. Now, your big break, which you mentioned, was the black light photo experiment. Now, tell me, what was the concept behind this, and what was your expectation going in? Because this is the project that got you all of the attention that rolled into other things. Did you go into this as saying this is going to be my platform to do other things, or it was all a surprise, the attention you got?
Well, when I started it, it was born out of, my relationship with my wife. I love her dearly, and, I love her body, and I love the way she looks naked. So one day I was looking at her, I was like, you know what? I said, let me put some, I think I had Vaseline, because I knew I was reading, and it said Vaseline glows on the UV light. So I was like, let me put this on you, and let me just take a picture of it and see what it looks like. So I rubbed some on her, and I took a picture of her, and it looked cool. And I was like, And I said, hold on. I heard baby powder glows in black light. So I put baby powder on it with the with the Vaseline. And then I just took a shot of it. And then I said, hold on, let's do that again. Now I'm going to do it more controlled, and I'm going to take my time with it. And that was the actual first black light shoot, was with my wife.
Well, and you have a nice wife to support your art, because I would be like, if you don't get this Vaseline and baby powder off of me.
It was a little messy, but, what came out of it was just, amazing. And it was 5 years. From that day, it was 5 years. That was March 2010. And in 2015, I had over 12,000 images from that project alone.
So did that project get a lot of press? Like, what happened that it got you so much attention?
Well, what it is like, fashion, designers and people in magazines, they love different eyes. And then I guess, Designer Original was one of the magazines. They seen my work, and they were like, wait a minute, do you do fashion too? And Yvonne, the editor from Designer Original, she was like, why don't you submit some projects? And I submitted one project that I did. It was a fashion shoot, and she was like, you know what, you want to shoot with us? You want to be a staff photographer and head up the East Coast? And I was like, yeah, sure. So, every time she sent me, mood boards or ideas for editorial, I'll take it and I'll just give it my spin as far as the way I capture things. Because, people always think like it's just a camera. Oh, you got a cool camera, Jose. You must take some good pictures because of that cool camera. And it's not that. It's, each photographer has their own eye, their own way of they see this universe, and
right.
Mine happens to be a way that a lot of people like.
So how did you get started shooting plus-size models and getting involved in the plus-size community?
Well, I mean, I shot everybody. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, well, you don't shoot plus-size? I'm like, yeah. You know what it is? I shoot so many different people. A lot of people think, like, I only shoot one thing. Like, I have plus-size women telling me, hey, wait a minute, you only shoot skinny models, and guys saying, well, you only shoot girls. No, I shoot guys, girls, old people, young people. I shoot everybody. But the plus-size community realized, my gifts, and they wanted my eye, to the way I capture beauty in everyone. And I think that's what kind of separates me from a lot of people. Like, I'm not shy to shoot a plus woman. I mean, there's not. I have my wife is plus. I think they're beautiful. It's just I make sure that I capture the way I see people. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not like
right.
I'm just worried about how other people are catching it. No, I see the beauty in a plus size woman, so I know how to capture them because it's beautiful to me.
Do you find shooting plus models more challenging than shooting straight size, or is it no difference to you?
Actually, there is no difference. There's certain things plus size women have to do, obviously, when they're posing, to kind of compete with each other, kind of, but it's nothing that can't be overcome, because I've shot very, portly women, and the images have come out gorgeous, and it's not like I'm telling them to suck in or anything like that. I don't even hardly tell people that, because if you're plus size, you're plus size. All you have to do is be yourself and love yourself, because when a woman loves themselves, doesn't matter how you look like, what size you are, you're going to look beautiful to people.
And then I noticed even in your artwork, you use all shapes and sizes, so you were body positive from the beginning.
Yeah, I hold no judgments. I hold no judgments whatsoever, because everybody's unique, and, that's just the way I am. That's just the way I am.
Now tell me about the Underwraps Agency and how you became the lead photographer, because this is a Muslim modeling agency, and they are all about modesty. And you love shooting nude so much, so this seems like an odd couple. So tell me how this came about.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. I mean, actually now they're just a modest modeling agency now, because not only do they have Muslim, but they also have Jewish models, and then they have non-denominational models that dress modestly. That's
okay.
Really, they don't dress sexy, too overly sexual, in nature. Well, Nyla, who's Nyla Limas, she's the owner of Underwraps. She's also a stylist and a creative director. We started working on editorials at first, and then, she realized, that I had the eye for fashion, and she loved working with me, and she knew my art wasn't, erotic, or just, nasty in a way that, is disrespectful to a woman or to a man. I celebrated, life, the human body, life, human experience, the form, what God gave us. So there was nothing in my work to say, hey, this guy's, showing pornographic stuff, none of my stuff is like that. So she respected that, and she's also shown support by even going to my, gallery exhibits. She was just there at my recent one at the Kalahari Gallery in Brooklyn. and she was there in full support of my work.
Okay. So was it like a adjustment with the modest models, or it didn't make a difference?
No, it doesn't make. Like I said, it doesn't make a difference. It's always fun because now I have a stylist, Nyla. She's amazing at putting together pieces and dressing on women. It's just with her. It's every time we link up, it's fireworks that go on, fashion fireworks.
Well, that's awesome. I actually like the concept of that agency and the things that you're doing. That's awesome. Now, tell me about one of your other projects that you have, Hunks for Hope. Now, tell me about this project.
Hunks for Hope, it started actually in the same circle with Nyla. I was introduced to Nyla through a good friend. Her name is Leela Green. We used to do shoots together, and she used to bring jewelry. She would have jewelry, and she would provide jewelry for the sets and things of that nature. And we linked up, and she liked the way I worked, and she was like, hey, I'm thinking of starting this charity because she herself was a domestic violence victim years ago, and she wanted to give back to the survivors and to women that are, just now coming out of their, situations. And she told me she wanted to start a calendar, with guys, as a, eye candy calendar, but she wanted to give all the proceeds back to the community that, of the women who suffered, domestic violence situations. And we've been doing, 3 years already, shooting the calendar. We actually were scouting Easter. I took my daughter out to the park. I met up with her daughters, and we actually scouted a park in the area, to do the next shoot. These guys, they come in, and, these are all guys that have jobs, and some of them are models, and they just volunteer. Like I'm volunteering, volunteering our time.
So this is your third time shooting this particular calendar for this organization?
Yeah. 3 years with her, shooting the yearly calendar. First started out with another photographer, Frederick. He did like two or three guys the first year, and then since the second year on, I took lead, and I've been doing most of the work.
So how can someone listening purchase that calendar?
All you gotta do is go to hunksforhope.com. Hunksforhope.com. It's on my page too. I'll put a link to everything we talked about after the show. But or you could visit Hunks for Hope on Facebook, and you could find information there as well, and they're on Instagram.
Now, you have another project. Now, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this correctly. It starts with a C. What is this? Chakralicious? I know I messed that up.
It's Chakralicious.
Okay, now what is this project?
You take the word chakra and then just add licious to it.
Okay.
It's a light painting fine art project, and it's spiritual in nature, because when I started the black light photo experiment, it was more of a vein. It was more of a vein project, more of look at the lights and colors and how they form with the body, something beautiful for the eye. It was an eye candy project for people who love, beautiful images. But the Chakralicious, again, it's more spiritual. It was born out of a very spiritual moment that happened to me 3 years ago, and you want
to share it, or is it private?
Well, it basically, just to put it in a nutshell, somebody very, very, big negative energy came into my life and just turned it on its head, and I had to pick up since then. And in doing so, I G'd up, meaning I worship my God again strongly and with all my heart, and kind of got my spirituality back to a level where I could, spot these, spiritual vampires, as I call them. So I decided to do this project because it involves capturing light, and kind of bonding with the models or the muses, or people who want to shoot it, and kind of bringing out what they feel spiritually in the photograph. It's a nude art project, but it's one where I paint them in the dark with light. So basically, when I'm shooting, and it's actually pitch black, and all you see is the lights as I paint designs around them, as I cover them in light, shower them with strings of light, just different fun things, And I usually ask them, what chakra do you kind of bond to? I don't know if you know what chakra is. We have the 7 chakras, in our body. They're just 7 points of energy. There's more than 7, but I just stuck to the 7 for now, just to keep it basic, but basically each chakra, touches a point in your spine and is connected to your, your organs and your glands and things of that nature. So I kind of wanted to celebrate light with that project, light, and which is, to me, spirituality.
And so this year, in 2016, you had a lot of art projects. Now, tell me which one you can go see now, because I know you had World Vision, Beautiful, Spectrum, and something at the Children's Museum of Manhattan. Now, which one is currently still up that people can attend and see?
Well, the Children's Museum of Manhattan, that's going to be up till next January, and that's because Nyla Limas had a section there, and she was like, "Hey, Jose, I need the images that we worked on. I want to put you in there and showcase our work." So we actually have 3 images showcased within the exhibit. It's a huge exhibit in the Children's Museum of Manhattan. It's called, I think, America to Zanzibar, and it's just fantastic. That's till January. And then the one that's ending Friday is the Beautiful Spectrum out in the Kalahari Gallery. Those 2 you could catch right now, but the Kalahari Gallery is closing Friday.
So are you going to be having these type of art projects ongoing throughout the year?
Yeah, I mean, we have another exhibit because I'm also board director of a 501c3 arts charity in the Bronx. It's called the X Collective. We're going to be having our exhibit called Let's Play House in April 22nd in the Bronx. I'll be having the flyer soon on my website and on my Facebook fan page. And that exhibit is actually dedicated to domestic violence. And it's a multiple artist exhibit, so I'm not going to be the only one showing work. I'm going to have other artists within the collective that's going to be showcasing work related to domestic violence.
Well, that's awesome. Cool. That's awesome. Yeah. Now, so what is your ultimate goal as a fine art and fashion photographer? Like, if you had your ultimate dream, what is the goal you're going towards that you want all of this to lead up to?
Well, I love to share. That's, a lot of people think, like, to me, the ultimate goal is to have people get something out of what I do, whether it's another photographer, a fan, a model, they come to me. I just love to hear when they say, I love the work, or something comes out of it, whether it's a job, as far as fashion, But like I tell my friends, I want to be in the history books. When you open up a book to study photography and art, I want to be in there, because I try to give something different and new that people haven't seen. And I'm hoping I'm on the right track.
Would you aspire to the career of someone like, is the photographer named David LaChapelle? Is that the one that has the elaborate photo shoots, creative photo shoots?
Yes, he's one of them. But to be honest, I've never researched any other photographer. I've seen maybe videos here and there, but like to sit down and to study somebody's entire body of work, I never done that. I never thought that I had to look at history in order to feel what I feel in my heart. That's the way I approach my art. Obviously, I had the idea for the black light. I actually went online to make sure that there was nothing close to what I had in my mind. Yes, of course. But once I saw there was nothing like my black light capture, that's when I went forward. When I went with Chakralicious, I made sure that there was nothing that anybody's working on that closely resembles what I was about to do.
Right.
That's the only time I go to research.
Right. Well, I didn't mean like copy his work, but he just has a big name, and and he's creative with his photography. I just felt like maybe that was something, so you could get like $10,000 a shoot too.
Yeah, no, it's it's awesome to see other people's work, but I've never actually the closest person that came to inspiring me was I believe her name is Jennifer Hudson. I think she might have changed her last name, but she was one of the photographers that when I saw her work, she inspired me only because of how different she was doing things. So if anything, it might be her. She might be the only photographer that actually inspired me to do something along those lines.
Now tell me, what do you have coming up that everybody can be on the lookout for? I know one of the things off the top of my head is your work is in the current issue of Curvysta Magazine, because I had the opportunity to shoot with you when I was in New York. So that's out right now. Everybody check that out. I had an excellent time shooting with you, and I absolutely love the pictures.
Yes. Even though it was cold outside, we still had fun. I loved it.
Yes, and I do know you are going to be a part of Lyris's boot camp that's coming up in New York City.
Yeah. Can't forget that second time around in her boot camp. I love sharing my knowledge and experience with people. And the last boot camp that I was in, the ladies that were there were very receptive, and I think I shot one or two of them after that, and
oh, good.
It's good to share, and just give knowledge to people. And, that's what we're here for.
And what else you have coming up? Anything else?
Well, again, the Let's Play House exhibit, that's going to be April 22nd. Got another couple of things in the pipe, working, but I got to keep them on the wraps until things are finalized. I can't spill the beans yet.
And if anybody is listening and wants to hire you for a photo shoot, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Well, they could reach me through my website. There's a page to reach out to me through email, and I'll get the email and I'll respond right back at josepaganphotography.com. People who have my old email, my old website, they could still go. It'll still take you to the same website, which is paganphotography.org. So either or, it leads to the same site.
Well, it was a pleasure having you on the show today. I really learned
thank you so much.
A lot about you, and it looks like you're doing like a lot of positive things for charity, giving back to the community. I think that's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I love what I do. I love the people I work with.
Well, all right. Well, continue success with everything you have going on, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too. Thank you again. Have a good night, sweetie.
You too. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
And thanks to our guest this evening, Jose Pagan. If you haven't already, don't forget to like our fan page on Facebook at facebook.com/Chenese Lewis Show. I've been your host this evening, Chenese Lewis. Thank you for tuning in and supporting. Until next time, keep thriving in your curves and be blessed.
You've been listening to the Chenese Lewis Show. For more info about the show, visit CheneseLewisShow.com.